For over a decade, fans of Sister Wives have followed the Browns' complicated lives, faith, family, and increasingly bitter disputes. But nothing could have prepared them for the explosive courtroom showdown that changed everything. Brown, the quiet but formidable ex-wife, finally faced her ex-husband, Kody Brown, over the infamous Coyote Pass property. When the gavel fell, shockwaves rippled through the family, the media, and the internet. Coyote Pass, a sprawling 14-acre plot in Flagstaff, Arizona, was supposed to be a dream. Each wife would build her dream home. Yet over time, that dream spiraled into chaos. Christine had left, Meri had distanced herself, Janelle clashed over finances, and Robyn's home quietly inched toward completion at the center of Kody's grand scheme. Court documents later revealed what fans had long suspected. Kody had been quietly funneling the best parcels toward himself and Robyn. Shifting boundaries, manipulating legal titles, and leaving the others out of the loop. Months of whispers, suspicions, and secret maneuvers were about to be laid bare in a courtroom where the stakes were higher than ever. Then came the bombshell. An email thread between Kody and a property consultant that allegedly revealed strategies to make Janelle's parcel less viable, pushing her toward a buyout so he could consolidate the land with Robyn. One line read aloud left everyone gasping. If she sees her lot is more trouble than it's worth, she'll take a buyout, and I can consolidate with Robyn's land. For Janelle, decades of shared life with Kody, betrayal and manipulation came crashing down in that single statement. Yet her reaction was icy, controlled. Witnesses described her demeanor as steel arms crossed, gaze fixed on the judge, never once looking at Kody. Grace under fire and power in her silence defined her every move. Kody, once the patriarch with an unshakable presence, now found himself crumbling. Legal arguments faltered, paper trails and witness testimony exposed the truth, and even loyal supporters in the courtroom shrank away. At one point, the judge reportedly told him, "You cannot operate a family trust as if it were your personal account." The verdict was devastating. Janelle retained full ownership of her portion of Coyote Pass. Kody was forced to cover her legal fees, and recent property transfers made without unanimous consent were invalidated. The patriarch had not only lost, he was publicly humiliated, exposed, and powerless. Robyn, Kody's only remaining wife, watched much of the trial unfold. Cameras captured her wiping away tears, torn between loyalty and disbelief. She had believed the land was being handled fairly, but now scrutiny fell on her as well. Did she know? Was she complicit? Social media erupted with questions, memes, and debates. Meanwhile, Christine, now happily remarried, weighed in on Instagram. Some people will go to any length to keep control. "I'm just glad some of us got free." Meri, the quiet observer, sent private congratulations to Janelle. She knew what it was like to be cornered by Kody. And Janelle's legal victory became a symbolic triumph for all who had felt powerless. The Coyote Pass case was more than a property dispute. It exposed years of hidden resentment, manipulation, and unchecked control. Kody's era of dominance, once unquestioned, was over. Fans online called it poetic justice. The man who had orchestrated family dynamics for decades had been outplayed by the woman he underestimated. Now, Janelle could finally plan her own future on her land. Rumors swirling of a modern, eco-friendly home and even a potential spin-off series. It was a statement of independence and strength, proof that reclaiming what is rightfully yours is always possible. While Janelle's victory made headlines, Meri Brown also faced her own fight. Her property, quietly absorbed into the family trust, was finally returned after legal action. The triumph was as symbolic as it was practical. A woman reclaiming her space after years of being sidelined. Christine, too, filed a legal petition seeking paternity recognition, child support, and custody for her daughter Truly, adding another layer to Kody Brown's unraveling image. The once commanding patriarch now faced mounting public scrutiny, family tension, and an unraveling reputation. The Coyote Pass verdict, Meri's legal win, and Christine's court petition all send a clear message. The days of Kody Brown's unchecked control are over. Even in a fractured plural marriage, quiet determination and courage can reclaim what was lost. For viewers, it's more than reality TV, a story of justice, empowerment, and the strength of women who refuse to be sidelined. Janelle wins, Kody loses, and in that courtroom, the era of manipulation came to an end. The era of justice and empowerment had begun, proving that even in the most complicated families, integrity and resilience can triumph over deceit and control. Kody and Robyn had just finalized paying off a $130,000 loan, sold their Flagstaff home for $1.775 million, and purchased a brand new $1 million mansion with a $420,000 down payment and a $1.68 million loan. But while they were celebrating these financial moves, another storm was brewing. Christine's lawsuit wasn't just a legal formality, was a public spotlight on Kody's financial decisions, highlighting a painful truth. Truly, his daughter, with Christine, had seemingly been left out of the wealth he enjoyed. Fans exploded online. Social media and Reddit lit up with criticism. Kody didn't support Truly. He only wants to avoid paying Christine. Another post read, "He's not fighting for custody out of love, he's fighting for leverage." The narrative was clear. Kody's pursuit of custody appeared less about parenting and more about strategy, optics, and control. This legal battle wasn't happening in a vacuum. Christine, Janelle, and Meri had all distanced themselves from Kody, leaving him legally married only to Robyn. Their plural family was unraveling in real time, and the courtroom had become a stage for years of resentment and hidden conflicts. Why wouldn't Kody support Truly? There were several. By evening, Kody looked like a man without a home, unsure even where he would sleep that night. Rumors had already spread across fan groups, Reddit threads, and Facebook pages dedicated to sister wives. Was Kody Brown truly bankrupt? And if so, had Robyn really played a role in his downfall? The warning signs had been there for years, some subtle, some glaringly obvious. Viewers had long noticed a disconnect between the family's lavish lifestyle and the reality of their income. While Kody often spoke about financial responsibility on camera, the Browns' spending habits told a different story. The most glaring example, Coyote Pass, from Las Vegas to Flagstaff. Kody had purchased a sprawling plot of land, promising a massive shared home for the entire family, or, failing that, multiple houses for each wife. But year after year, nothing was built, while property taxes and maintenance costs piled up. Insiders described it as a money pit, draining resources without producing a single livable square foot. Kody was obsessed with Coyote Pass, seeing it as his legacy project. Robyn, she had other ideas. She pushed for a separate high-end home for her and her children, a nearly $900,000 Flagstaff mansion with custom finishes, multiple bedrooms, and room for her 5 children. Beautiful, yes, but financially crushing. And with only one legal wife left, Kody signed the papers. Their expenses didn't stop at the house. High-end furniture, lavish shopping trips, designer gifts. Professional photographers' lull fueled the perception of wealth while stretching the family's finances to the breaking point. TLC's filming schedule had slowed, meaning fewer lump sum payments, and Kody kept hoping the next season's paycheck would bail him out. But no amount of optimism could hide the cracks. The breaking point came on a Tuesday that would become infamous in Flagstaff. After a brutal meeting with his accountant and attorney, Kody learned the truth. Property taxes on Coyote Pass were overdue, Robyn's mortgage was months behind, credit cards maxed out, and legal fees were piling up. When he entered Robyn's home, cameras rolling, it erupted into chaos. An eyewitness recounted, Kody stormed in, threw documents onto the counter, and shouted, "Do you see this? This is bankruptcy. This is me ruined. And it's all because of you, Robyn." Robyn froze mid-sip of her coffee. "Kody, calm down." "We can talk," she began, but he cut her off. "Talk. We've been talking for years. While the rest of the family is scraping by, you've been buying furniture like we're millionaires." Production officially called cut to prevent disaster on camera, but insiders say the crew kept filming for legal purposes. According to those who saw the unedited footage, Kody accused Robyn of convincing him to buy the Flagstaff mansion, overspend, on family image gifts and social media appearances. "You wanted the dream life. Now we're living the nightmare," he reportedly said. Robyn, calm but steely, shot back, "Don't put this all on me. Kody, you bought Coyote Pass. You promised houses you couldn't afford. You love showing off for the cameras, and now you don't want to admit it's catching up with you." The confrontation reportedly lasted nearly an hour, echoing through the high-ceilinged home while the rest of the family stayed upstairs. By the end, Kody grabbed his jacket, muttered he was done, and stormed into the cold Flagstaff afternoon. Witnesses saw him pacing streets, phone pressed to his ear, muttering, "She drained everything. TLC, money, the savings, even the respect I had left." Photos circulated online, and within hours, hashtags like #BankruptBrown and #Robyn ruined him trended across Reddit, Instagram, and fan blogs. Opinions were split. Some sympathized with Kody as a tragic figure. Others blamed him for reckless choices, with Robyn allegedly fueling the spending. The meltdown didn't end there. While outside a gas station, a private lender called in overdue debts. Kody reportedly stopped, stared into space for 30 seconds, and whispered, "So, I'm done." Hours later, he was sitting on a public bench, alone with the cold reality of everything he had lost. Robyn, meanwhile, retreated into her Flagstaff sanctuary. Tears, frustration, and the need to defend herself weighed heavily. Friends described her as trapped between loyalty to Kody and her own survival instincts. The other wives, Meri, Janelle, and Christine, all reacted differently. Meri felt vindicated yet heartbroken, believing Robyn's spending habits had contributed to Kody's collapse. Janelle tried to mediate but found it exhausting, while Christine kept a low profile, focusing on her children but quietly frustrated with Kody's financial mismanagement. Crew members say the set had become a tense chessboard of cold shoulders, clipped conversations, and silent observation. Kody's isolation grew. No longer the confident patriarch, he struggled to maintain authority and control. Fans debated online. Some saw him as a victim of love-blind choices. Others blamed Robyn, and many questioned whether the polygamous lifestyle itself was financially unsustainable. Mainstream media soon picked up the story with headlines like, "Sister Wives, Patriarch Bankrupt, and the Robyn Factor." Behind the cameras, insiders point to missed opportunities and ignored advice from financial consultants, provided by TLC. Production pressures had fueled a cycle of overspending. The more lavish the family life, the more drama. The higher the viewership panned, the bigger the paycheck. Such a cycle was never sustainable. At its core, Kody's downfall came down to personal choices, promises made he couldn't keep, the desire to keep everyone happy, and a lifestyle beyond his means. The financial collapse didn't just drain bank accounts, it eroded trust, relationships, and the foundation of the plural marriage. Kody's identity crisis was profound. Once the proud patriarch, he now questioned his ability to provide, lead, and maintain respect. Robyn wrestled with guilt and isolation, feeling misunderstood despite public defiance. Meri's bitterness deepened. Janelle struggled to keep peace, and Christine focused on her children amidst the turmoil. Even the kids were affected, confused, and scared by the rapid changes. As the dust settles, questions loom. Can the family survive this fracture? Can the plural marriage endure with trust shattered and alliances fractured? Robyn faces the challenge of regaining trust and protecting her children, while Kody searches for redemption through new ventures and repairing strained relationships. The cameras remain an ever-present witness, but one thing is certain: the Brown family story is far from over. And for Kody, Robyn, and the rest of the wives, the next chapter promises even more drama, heartbreak, and shocking revelations. Several threads. First, because of administrative oversight and the nature of their non-legal marriage, Kody's name never appeared on Truly's birth certificate. This left him viewing his financial obligation as ambiguous or even avoidable. Second, he seemed to prioritize his new life with Robyn over his responsibilities to Truly, consolidating resources around his current household. And third, custody itself might have been a tactical move, a legal counter to avoid paying support while controlling the narrative. Every public comment, every court filing, painted a picture of a man more reactive than nurturing, more strategic than paternal. And then came a moment fans had been waiting for. The long simmering tension between Meri and Robyn erupted. On a chilly Flagstaff morning, with cameras rolling and producers bracing for drama, the two women finally dropped the last layer of polite smiles. The gloves were off. According to insiders, the confrontation wasn't staged. That had been brewing for years. They've been at each other's throats behind the scenes for a long time, said one source. But this was war. No one waits anymore. It's every woman for herself. Meri, the original wife, had endured more than a decade of shifting alliances, broken promises, and the slow erosion of her marriage. She had sacrificed her legal status to allow Kody to marry Robyn, watched her influence diminish, and quietly suffered the whispers of being sidelined. Robyn, once the fresh spark of the family, had grown into a figure of power, accused by critics of manipulating Kody's favor and subtly sidelining the other wives. The breaking point came during a seemingly routine family discussion holiday planning. Meri arrived with her vision for family gatherings. Robyn had already made her plan known, and she expected everyone to follow it. The exchange escalated quickly. Years of suppressed frustration, sidelining, and perceived slights poured out in a verbal battle that forced producers to step in and halt filming temporarily. This wasn't just about Christmas, one insider put it. It was about 12 years of Meri waiting for Robyn to meet her halfway and realizing she never would. From that moment on, the sisterhood was dead. Now it's just two women in a war zone, and neither is backing down. Meanwhile, Kody faced his own reality check. That morning in Flagstaff, the desert wind carried more than just cold air. It carried the weight of his unraveling empire. A stunned eyewitness claims Kody turned to Robyn and said, "You're the reason I'm bankrupt. You've drained me dry." The man who had once juggled multiple mortgages, car payments, business ventures, and the expenses of 18 children now looked like a man exposed, vulnerable, and cornered. Later, locals spotted him pacing the streets, phone in hand, gesturing wildly, shouting about lawyers and liquidating assets. Passers-by described a surreal scene. The once confident patriarch, the reality TV star, now visibly unraveling in public. The fracture within the Brown family was no longer subtle. Legal battles, financial disputes, and personal betrayals had coalesced into a full-blown family crisis. Robyn, Meri, and Christine had all drawn their lines, and Kody, once untouchable, was left scrambling to maintain control, credibility, and his crumbling public image. The stage was set, the cameras rolling, and fans watching. The most dramatic chapter in Sister Wives history was unfolding in real life, and there was no script Kody could follow to save himself.